Hello everybody, my name is Gazooka, and today this is going to be something completely different to what I'm usually doing. I might have mentioned it in my live stream if you saw that, and basically I'm going to be talking about Elite Dangerous and the story, or lack thereof, in Elite Dangerous. So not really talking about the story, more ideas for the story. I'm essentially trying to get Frontier Developments, FDev's attention and give them some good ideas if they haven't already got some on the way. So I'm going to replace myself with some gameplay footage and stuff like that, so enjoy. So basically the idea I've had for Elite Dangerous on the idea of a story is based loosely, I say loosely, pretty heavily on Mass Effect 2. And the way that the collectors were a thing, because if you think about it, the collectors were a insect-like race. Technically they were, and spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't played it, they were the Protheans in Elite Dangerous, in Mass Effect, and essentially the Reapers got a hold of them, tweaked them, and turned them into the collectors. And they have their own ships, they have their own base, and again they're very insectoid-like, just like the Thargoids. What with an actual model of a Thargoid looks very insect-like, and in lore they are classed as insectoid-like beings. Their ships are obviously like a biomechanical kind of construct. Yeah, and so the way I'm thinking of a story, so here's the idea I've had, similar to the Mass Effect one. So I'll just tell you about the Mass Effect one, and then I'll sort of spin it the way I thought would be cool. So in Mass Effect 2, the collectors come around, they start collecting people, hence collectors, and they start turning them into goo and then feeding them into some tubes to make a proto-Reaper that is essentially a human looking, at least. Reaper looks more like a Terminator if I'm honest, but granted, Commander Shepard comes along and screws with their plans and stops it. But the way it's went is very similar to how I would imagine it to be in Elite Dangerous, in the sense that because the collector base is more or less at the galactic core of our galaxy, so closer to Sagittarius A, you pretty much see the giant black hole on the very precipice, the base, sorry, on the precipice of this black hole. And it stays there, and it's more or less just sat there to be hidden completely, and it's worked really well. Obviously eventually we do track it down, we do find it, and we do end up taking it out and winning. But ultimately the idea that I've had is something somewhat similar, but obviously the Thargoids in Elite Dangerous operate in witch space, which is the hyperspace window, if that makes sense. So we only jump into it for a few seconds and then we jump out light years away from where we were. Whereas the Thargoids primarily operate in that space. So the way I have seen it is that when they're in that space, not only are they invulnerable, but they're not really able to do anything outside of it, until they drop out. And oftentimes we will be jumping through the systems and they will hyperdict us, so they will see us popping through and they will latch on and pull us back and snap us back, and then they'll scan us, or in this predicament now they will come and attack us, because obviously the first time we saw the Thargoids, they hyperdict you regardless of what ship you've got, regardless of your jump range or how heavy you are or anything like that. And they will still hyperdict you, and they will scan you, and they will basically analyse the way it goes. And now granted, some of the stuff, some of these Easter eggs and whatnot, such as if you scanned a unknown probe or an unknown artefact at the time, I think it was just an unknown probe now I think about it, it would paralyse your ship and more or less sing to you. And when it sung to you, it was basically scanning your ship and singing it back to you. And the only way you could see that was with a spectral, I think it's called spectral analyzer. I think that's the wrong one. I think it's more audio analyzer, something like that. And basically it would paint the picture, and like I say, the Elite Dangerous community was fantastic to hop onto it and get to it and figure it out so quickly, and it was absolutely brilliant, and I really enjoyed it. It was really fantastic how quickly they sussed it out. And it was a very clever part of the game, but again, there was nothing in game that would help you out with that. And plenty of other YouTubers such as Yamex and Obsidian Ant and plenty other Elite Dangerous focused YouTubers has basically said the same thing, where there's nothing in game that will help you solve these things. So carrying on with the whole Thargoid idea and everything, so these Thargoids only operate in witch space. So I've had the idea that we tweak it, because we know that there are bigger ships than the Interceptors, because there were scouts at first, which were based on the original Elite games, and then obviously they brought it back as a little Easter egg, and then eventually they started bringing more scouts into the systems that were under attack. And obviously before we saw them, though, we did see a Thargoid Interceptor, which was just initially on a planet that had crashed, just like the Scout. But then eventually we did get interdicted. I think the first dude was on Xbox, I can't remember his gamer tag, mind, but he was the first person to be interdicted. And again, it's such a cool build-up to a story, but up until now, there's been no story. Yes, we've got Odyssey coming out, but again, I doubt there will be much of a story, more just tutorial missions on how to use your weapons, possibly grenades if they've got any, how to set up your armour, and so on and so forth. Or the story that I'm trying to think of is, like I said, loosely based on the Mass Effect 2 series, with the Collectors. And the idea is the Thargoids. So I'll just basically waffle on a bit more, but it's not about lore or anything like that. This is literally about the story now. So this is somewhat start to finish our story, because in Elite Dangerous, it's not like the original games where you played a character that was essentially the main protagonist, the hero as it were. You are now playing just an average Joe that nobody knows, you have no name for yourself. You're just trying to make your way in the world, in the galaxy basically. So the Thargoids are come a-knocking. They've come back. They're pissed because the mycoid virus, hurt them but didn't kill them. So they've grew their numbers back and they've come back. At first, they're just poking us, prodding us to see how advanced we are. And obviously, over time, they've interdicted us, or hyperdicted us, and poked and prodded just to see what we are, how we tick and stuff like that. And eventually they started attacking our capital ships and other people that had their technology with them, such as Thargoid probes, Thargoid links and Thargoid artifacts. And then over time they start collecting, hilariously, they will actually abduct occupied escape pods from these areas. And you can go to these areas in a system that's being, I can't remember the state name, but when they are trying to take a system, you can go into them and you can look around and you can actually see these areas where it's threat level 5 or above, and they will go and scan these ships that are around. They have just now laid waste to, and any escape pods that are floating around in space, they will go up to and they will pull in and more or less cargo scoop them. So whatever is going on there is a bit dodgy, hence why we have to act with it and see them as a threat. As time has gone on, obviously we've developed our weaponry and got Guardian tech. Now, the way that I feel the story could go is we find out that the Thargoids have a special, like a mega mothership, sort of like, and this is going to sound a bit cheesy as well, Independence Day, where there's a queen, a Thargoid queen on this base station, on this mothership, or Thargoid station, Thargoid base, whatever you want to call it. And we have to get to it, and as a community, and I'm going to base it off of Warframe now, so those of you that play Warframe will know that we have Fomorian battleships or battle cruisers. I can't remember what the actual full name of it, but it was the Fomorian warship that the Grineer have. And when that becomes available, as you know, as an event, as a community, you have to deal damage to it. Now, not one group or one person can deal enough damage in one go to destroy it completely. It can take a few hours to a few days to do so. And but when you do destroy it, when it does get down to the low parts of its health, and that team then eventually gets to kill it, and there could be multiple teams, obviously. Then you get, I don't know about death animation because I've never seen it myself personally, but I'd imagine there would be a death animation of you flying away and then it blows up. And this is where I'm going with it with the Thargoids. It's a similar sort of thing. So where's this ship? It could be near the centre of the galaxy. It could be near Sagittarius A. It could be orbiting it, for all we know. We've just not been able to find it because we haven't been looking properly. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to it, it wouldn't be too bad of an idea to have that sort of thing going. That way, just like in Elite Dangerous, just like in Mass Effect 2, when they're trying to get close to the base, they have their drones, or the swarm, or whatever you want to call it. They have their drones attack the Normandy. In Elite Dangerous, we could just essentially have Thargoid interceptors and swarms of thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands even, of Thargon, so the smaller ships that the Thargoid interceptors launch, along with scouts and so on and so forth. And when we go to storm it, we're just not trying to destroy it, we're trying to rout it, because the only place I'd say that we could do any serious damage to it would be witch space. Or the other option that I came up with a little while ago was we have to have a special drive on our ship that we essentially replace the frameshift drive for, and it's a one-off thing. As soon as we're done with it, we have to put a frameshift drive on again, and it's a drive designed purely to get our ship into witch space and linger around, but not for very long. Think of it as it has a charge or a crystal or something that the Thargoids use, such as one of their hearts, that only has a limited amount of time before it's exerted or is drained, and then we are forced to leave. And again, as a community, we jump in, we get to the Thargoid base, mothership, whatever you want to call it, we deal as much damage as we can, not to kill it, because it's not somewhat indestructible, but it's incredibly hard to kill while in witch space because it will be able to regenerate its hull a lot faster. Once we've, however, done enough damage, it will be forced to drop out of witch space and into normal space because of the fact it's taken too much damage and needs time to repair. It then goes into somewhat hiding, and people can fly around the local area within, say, like 1,000 light years. So all the star systems within 1,000 light years, it will jump to one of those random spaces. However, if you don't find it within 48 hours, let's say, the Thargoid ship will have repaired itself enough, but it's sort of like done a silent running up until that point, so it's been hidden, and obviously when you find it, when you jump into the system, it will show up on your scanner kind of like a space station would. Or in your navigation panel, it will show up like a space station would, so you would see it then and there. Then you'd have to fly over to it, and more or less that'll then pop up to everyone else. You know, it will pop up in like the codex as the last known location, location, and the it will automatically pop up sort of like a warning for when you're when a carrier is about to jump. And it will pop up and say that it's going to depart in like 5 minutes or something like that, just so that everyone knows, and everyone in the game, I mean, or at least everyone within 1,000 light years from where it is, it will tell them where it last was seen, and you fly to it. And if you catch it quick enough, obviously, it won't have much time to have repaired much of its hull. So when you jump to it, it will basically try to route itself, similar to how you can route a capital ship, but instead of it obviously routing and just disappearing for good, it goes back to witch space. So then you've got to go back, you've got to go to an engineer, you've got to make another drive, or at least make another crystal, and then put it in the drive, and then do it all again. And you could do it multiple stages, but essentially if the community was on board enough, you could do it in one go, in one run as it were. Knock it out of witch space, and then get back to normal space, find it, and then basically shoot it and kill it. But it's going to be such a huge ship, I'd say, or a huge base, that it's pretty much super tiny moon. Like, you could, after about, like, if you flew in a straight line, if there was a hole going through it, it would take you about 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, at like 250 meters a second to fly through the entire planet base thing. Kind of like a Death Star, really, a Thargoid Death Star. And your job is, once you've got it into normal space, to deal enough damage to, let's say, the doors that they blow open, and then you've got to fly inside, deal damage to its internals, find its power core, whatever it is, destroy that, make it out, and then again, death animation, boom. The other option, obviously, is every ship is to just shoot the shit out of it and get its hull down to 0, where obviously it will then just explode. Just like I say with Warframe and the Fomorian, once you've dealt enough damage to it, it will just blow up and you'll succeed, and everyone that's joined in the event will get the rewards depending on how much effort they put in. Similar to, like I say, the community goals that are in Elite Dangerous now, and have been. They have been a bit absent for a while, but they do pop in every now and again. And the more effort you put in, the better rewards you get. But it's also a case of, if you're in a squadron and you do it with your squad mates, the reward will remain the same, but everyone will get the same amount. Individual pilots, they'll have their own sort of pay screen. I don't know exactly. Again, I wasn't really thinking of how that part would work, but it was more just like the case of, the more people join in, the better chance of destroying it in one go you've got. But then you're probably thinking, well, what happens after that then? What happens after you've destroyed the Thargoid base? And the way I would do it is something like Independence Day, where it wasn't just the one. Well, I say Independence Day, technically it's Independence Day 2, where it's not just the one ship, it's another ship. There's another one out there. Slightly different colour maybe, slightly different looking, but ultimately the exact same. But they're all dormant, so you'll never really see more than one at a time. And again, there's a queen on board, so in order to destroy it, either you kill the queen, and again in the Mass Effect universe, the Collectors had their version of a queen. It was this big chonky bitch, and again, the Thargoids could have something similar, like I say, but this is just how a story that I would find pretty cool. And that's basically it. That's all I really wanted to do for this video. I didn't like I'm sorry if I've waffled on a bit, because obviously I've done it for nearly half hour now, but I'll threw some gameplay footage in there just to try and make it less boring, so you got something to watch more than listen, because obviously my voice is, well, I mean, I listen to my voice a lot. Not because I want to, but because I kind of have to, because it's kind of what I do. But yes, then, like I say, Elite Dangerous is a really good game. I really enjoy it. I'm getting back into it now. Got my own fleet carrier. I've done videos in it in the past, and I'll probably be doing a live stream of it at some point. And or I might have already done it by the time this comes out, depends. But yeah, so then, like I say, the Thargoids and whatnot in Elite Dangerous, I am really intrigued in. And one of the things I would love to see is, and it's both Guardians and Thargoids, is I'd love to see Thargoid based weaponry, because right now we've got Guardian based weaponry and modules. Weaponry in the forms of the Gauss cannon, the plasma chargers, and the shard cannons, I believe they're called. I've only got the plasma cannons and the Gauss cannon and the plasma charger, and like I say, and then in terms of modules, I've got all the modules. So I've got the frameshift drive booster, I've got the shield booster, the shield reinforcement package, I've got the hull reinforcement package, and I've got the module reinforcement package, the power plant, the power distributor, and so on and so forth. And like I say, I just wish that there was Thargoid based weaponry, because we've killed enough of them at this point. We've taken the hearts, we've taken the bits and bobs of the stuff left behind when they do get when we do destroy a petal, and so on and so forth. So like I say, I would really like to see some form of Thargoid weaponry that is damaging to them. It would make, in a way, sense that because it's like use their own weapons against them style of thing, but at the same time, Guardian technology was designed to combat the Thargoids perfectly, and it does so brilliantly. So like I say, so that in mind, I would, but like I say, there's loads of different people in real people. Some love the Thargoids, some hate them, some love them to the point where they will defend them, kind of, love, and then other people hate them, such as, well, I don't hate them, it's just I don't want them to kill me, so it's kill or be killed, basically. So with the Thargoids, so I basically side with the Guardians on that regard, so I'm using Guardian tech. But like I say, other people will want to save the Thargoids and help them out. So in terms of ships, I would love to see technically six ships. Obviously, one small, one medium, one large of Guardian and Thargoid, or one ship, or maybe 3 ships, so a small, medium, and large, but at least one ship, and I'd preferably prefer it to be a medium or large ship of a pure Chimera hybrid style of thing, where it's Thargoid for the hull and Guardians for the power plant and weaponry, and then, like I say, human tech for the engines and the other bits and bobs, so heat sinks and stuff like that. Because think about it, if you could combine those 3, you could have the devastating power of the Guardians' weaponry along with the Thargoid's regenerative hull, and obviously our technology to make it all seamlessly blend together, which we've already done in the form of the Guardian fighters, such as the Lance and the Trident. Those are the 2 I've got. I don't have the Javelin, just because I'm not a big fan of the shard cannons. I don't mind frag cannons, but at the same time, I'm not a big fan of them personally, so I don't really, want to touch them. But essentially, that is the last thing, other than the turreted versions of the Guardian tech, that that's the only things I've got left to unlock, and I don't really want the turreted versions because there's just not really much point. So, but yes, so then I have wanted to make this video for the last few days now, because this sort of story has just been on my mind for a fair while now. I just didn't really know how to, or if I wanted to make a video of it, because obviously all these other YouTubers make stuff like that all the time. And then I saw Yamix make one, I think about a month ago. I didn't see it a month ago, I saw it more recently, and he made it basically, where's the story, asking for the story, like personal narrative. I just thought, I'll throw my pennyworth in and see what you think. Like, I know it's a bit of a long video, but essentially, if you have watched it to the end, you're a G. I love you. But ultimately, yeah, I do wish there was more of a story in Elite Dangerous that wasn't hidden to a degree where you would need third-party software. Like I say, there is a fair few things now, like for commodity training, like you can still use your phone, your iPad, your computer, whatever, by going on eddb.io or inara.com or whatever. I've got a hair on my face, and which is funny because you wouldn't know that. but yeah, so then you could go on there and then look up the best prices, where in game now, I mean, it's not perfect, if I'm honest, it still needs a bit more work. You can do that, you can put in the material you want, the commodity, so you want metals, gold for example, and then you can import export. So if you're coming from somewhere with that, you could take it to somewhere that's selling it the highest in the local vicinity, or you could do export, where it will then tell you where the best place to buy it cheaply is. And like I say, but again, it needs work, because with the one that I'm talking about on the website, it can tell you in the whole bubble where's the best place to go to buy it or sell it. So like I say, it's a bit of a disappointment that it's not fully there yet, but at least it's getting there. So like I say, keep going, Frontier, you can do it, you can do it. And I really do hope that the story becomes better, because again, like I say, our characters in Elite Dangerous aren't meant to be the hero. That's why I say a community goal would make more sense. There's not one person, it's a group, you know what I mean? It's a community, it's us, it's the commanders. So I'm going to leave it here. So 07 commanders, And yeah, I hope you're having a nice day and a nice night, and I will see you in the next video or live stream. Bye bye. Remember to like and subscribe. Better yet, I'll have my subordinate teach you a lesson. Idiot.